Before I start my description of my dinner at Osteria Fernanda, I have to make a correction. Last year, in my final episode from Rome, in the intro to my episode 197 on Osteria Fernanda, I said I had phoned ahead to give notice of a delayed arrival time and had spoken to Chef Davide Del Duca. That was an error on my part. I had in fact spoken with Andrea Marini, who is the host and sommelier. My apologies to Andrea. This time, I again spoke with him on the phone in advance, with a request to move my reservation time ahead by half an hour. It was my last night in Rome, and I didn't want to be rushed while eating by having to keep an eye on the time. Having had the 10-course tasting menu the visit before, I decided to opt for a traditional 4-course à la carte this time around. Once the choices were made, I got a glass of Franciacorta Brut from Vezzoli as my aperitivo. Along with this, the delicious grissini made from cornmeal, which I remembered from the last time. Then, the fantastic array of amuse-bouche. First, raw white fish in a roll of nori alga, then a mussel foam with crunchy pasta, chicken liver pâté with a citrus cream on a cracker, which I remembered with pleasure from the year before, and lastly, tomato water, which this year was from yellow tomatoes, to be drunk from the bowl. Semi-whole wheat bread and salted Normandy butter, and I was set. Just before my antipasto was served, sommelier Andrea brought me a glass of Vuria, a Catarratto Lucido, from the Di Giovanna winery in Sambuca di Sicilia, not too far inland from the temples at Sedinunte. The antipasto was a take on broccoli and skate, a classic Roman dish. In this case, we had fried broccoli, along with sea lettuce, on top of skate in a broth made from the fish, with a white sesame cream and shiso leaves. Absolutely exquisite, and what a treat to get a broth made from skate, a fish we almost never get in Vienna. A risotto for my primo. This featured cooked root vegetables which had been marinated in butter, which was creamed into the risotto at the end, with the liquid the root vegetables had been cooked in being used in the cooking of the rice. At least, that's how my hurried notes rendered the explication. In addition, there were squiggles of rose hips gel, plus fennel pollen scattered over the rice and the meat in the center. That meat was venison carpaccio from roe deer, an utterly original, super satisfying, earthy risotto, one I'm not likely to ever find anywhere else. A red wine from Apulia came to accompany the secondo, an Angelini Squinzano Rosso from the Cantina Due Palme, halfway between Brindisi and Lecce, made mostly from Negro Amaro grapes with some Malvasia Nera. It was an excellent pairing, despite the secondo being fish, called pesce bianco on the menu. The white fish on this day was ricciola, amberjack, and it was done alla mugnaia. In this case, we see a white cream made with flour, butter, and lemon. The green sauce is made from cavolo nero flavored with bergamot, and there are morels in between the 4 slices of fish. A delicious variation on the classic ingredients of a meunière, enriched and enhanced by the bergamot. Before the actual dessert, there was a pre-dessert. At the bottom, down there in that bowl, was a green apple sorbet. The light color is from a foam of yogurt with cucumber. The shiny part is from rucola-flavored olive oil, and the powder dusting is from grated licorice. Wonderfully refreshing. Just afterwards, sommelier Andrea brought me the dessert wine, a Passito dei Neri, made from Vermentino and Albarola grapes by the winery Il Monticello in Sarzana, east of La Spezia in Liguria, close to the border with Tuscany. A great match for the shockingly imaginative dessert which soon arrived. Under a canopy made of toasted white chocolate ganache lurked ingredients one wouldn't have expected in a dessert, except they were listed on the menu. You already get a glimpse underneath the disc. Cauliflower, grilled toasted cauliflower to be precise, along with unnamed spices. And snuggled up to it was a gelato with not only the familiar vanilla, but miso. It may sound weird, but it was an unmitigated delight. What an expression of creativity on the part of Chef De Duca to come up with that. The year before, I'd had to rush to catch the last bus, so I'd missed out on the post-desserts. This time I had seen to it that there would be no rush. There were 5 of these post-desserts. From the top, the off-white cube was a marshmallow flavored with apricot. Sitting next to it, moving clockwise, was another larger cube. This one was a cremino composed of 3 different chocolate layers. Then, a readily identifiable raspberry-shaped and flavored jelly. Moving to the front, a sablé flavored with Bordeaux, surrounded by a burnt pastry cream shield. And finally, a macaroon with white chocolate and olive oil. A worthy conclusion to yet another spectacular dinner at Osteria Fernanda, and an unbeatable send-off to my last night in Rome.